Algebra 1 students, in today's video we are going to learn how to add and subtract polynomials. In order to add and subtract polynomials, we need to make sure that we know what like terms are. So really quick before we get started, okay, I'm going to do a little sidebar. We'll talk about what terms would be like out of this list. So I've got 4 terms here, 2x, 3, 3y, and 4x. So which terms would be considered like? Well, in order to be a like term, we have to have the exact same variables. Right down to they have to have the exact same exponents. So when I look at these terms, 3 doesn't have any variables. This term has a 3 and has a y. These two terms just have x's. So those would be the like terms. All right, so let's go ahead and apply that as we start adding and subtracting. In my first example, I'm actually going to do example 2 first. Okay, in this example, we're adding 2 polynomials. This polynomial has 3 terms, and this polynomial also has 3 terms. Since I am adding the polynomials, I can go ahead and turn this into just an addition problem where I combine like terms, and I don't need the parentheses. So I'm going to rewrite it without the parentheses. Then I'm going to go through and I'm looking for like terms. So I'm going to look for all the terms that have an x squared in them. This term has an x squared, and then so does this term. In order to add those together, I'm going to add the coefficients. So the 3 is a coefficient, and in front of the x squared, there's an invisible 1 there. So this will be 3x squared plus 1x squared, which makes 4x squared. Notice I didn't change the variable part when I combine those. All right, now I'm done with those, so I'm going to cross them off, and we'll move on to my next like term. I have x and 4x. Again, there's an invisible 1 in front of that x, so I'm going to add 1x and 4x together. That makes 5x. And then finally, I'm going to go ahead and look for the constants. So the last terms that I can put together are negative 6 and positive 10. Negative 6 plus 10 makes positive 4. And then that's it. I have no more like terms, and that's my final answer. Okay, let's try a problem where we have to subtract. So subtracting makes this a little bit more complicated because we can't just bring down the first term and the second term. So this term is all positive. I will bring down that term. So 4x squared minus 3x plus 5. But the second term, I want to subtract that. So what I personally like to do is I like to distribute that negative sign. So I do negative 1 times 3x squared makes negative 3x squared. Negative 1 times negative 1x makes positive 1x. And negative 1 times negative 8 makes positive 8. Then this becomes just a traditional combining like terms problem. So I add 4x squared plus negative 3x squared, or I can think of that as 4x squared minus 3x squared, which makes 1x squared. A lot of students will ask, Ms. Johnson, do I have to write the 1 in front? And the answer is no. The 1 is not necessary. It's a coefficient, but you don't have to write it there. Can you keep it there? Of course. All right. And then I'll move on to my x terms. So I've got negative 3x and positive 1x. When I combine those, negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. So that makes negative 2x. And then I'll cross those off to let me know I'm done with them. And last but not least, I've got the constants, 5 plus 8 makes plus 13. And there we go. My final answer is x squared minus 3x plus 13. That's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed watching.